Hey everyone, welcome to the Newbie Real Estate Investors of New Jersey podcast. I'm Jonathan Boyle,
And I'm Joey Chan.
and we're here today in Bloomfield, New Jersey, and we are interviewing Benedict Joanis.
Yeah, Benedict has been a real estate investor for the past 5 years. He's currently working on about 7 projects right now. He's a wholesaler, a fix and flipper, and he's also a buy and hold guy as well. He's looking to get into the commercial real estate market as well. Stay tuned.
Hey Ben, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for
Where are
having
we
me.
right now?
We're actually in Bloomfield, New Jersey, in one of my projects, right at the border of Bloomfield and Montclair. Yeah, it's a small little three-family that I'm working on right now as a flip. We're in the midst of getting ready for all our rough inspections, so that's why you're seeing, the show here right now.
Hey, so Ben, can you tell us a little bit about how you kind of got started in real estate and what you did before real estate?
Yes, so I started real estate about 5, 6 years ago. I say 5, 6 years because the first year I really didn't do much. I was educating myself, going to all the seminars and meetings, got a coach, a mentor. I lived in New York City at the time, so I was traveling back and forth to Jersey, and it was a bit difficult to do anything. So because of that, that first year really doesn't count until I moved from the city to New Jersey and did my first wholesale that way. So that's how I really got started. And before that, I actually worked in finance. I worked for a bank. I was a financial advisor there. Did that for about 10 years or so. And then my wife got pregnant and she gave birth to her daughter. And I decided to quit my job right then and there. I'll stay home, be a stay-home dad. Did that for a year, and that's the year really I used to educate myself, and until we moved to Jersey, and the rest is history from there. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, okay.
Could you tell us a little bit about that first deal you did?
Mhm.
Probably not the wholesale deal, but more
The rehab,
the
right?
rehab, yeah. How you got into doing rehabs?
Okay, yeah, sure. Me, I'm Philly. So my plan all along, the biggest thing I did, and I recommend this to anybody who's watching today, is to have a really strong goal, right? So I took the time and educated myself in the business, and figured out exactly why I was doing it, and as well as what's the outcome. So my goal all along was to, wholesale to generate money to do my first flip, and from there to do enough flips to generate capital to start buying and holding, and get cash flow. And the goal was financial freedom all along. So how I ended up getting my first deal is through networking and going to the meetups and meeting people. And a buddy of mine actually pitched me this deal that he was trying to wholesale, couldn't find the money for it, couldn't find any buyers. So he's like, Ben, if you can find the money to do the deal, we can do it all together as your first flip. So I took the deal. Again, remember, no experience, no previous knowledge of the business. So I went around asking all the investors I knew at the time, going to all the different meetups and asking people, say, listen, I want to do this deal. I'm not putting a penny up, and I want it to be a 50-50 split. So I asked around, everyone laughed me out most of the time, as you would expect. Eventually I found a guy who took a chance on me, and he ended up being my first mentor. And we did that first deal together. I did everything. I did all the work and dealt with the contractors, learned a ton. Mainly learned what not to do.
Yeah.
We did the deal. I mean, at the end of the day, we didn't make a lot of money on it. When I was done, my profit after 11 months was like $2,000. But that $2,000, I look at it. Well, you go to university, right? I went to Seton University. I paid $45,000 a year for a degree in anthropology and minor in French, and I'm not doing any of that. So I equated the amount of time and energy I spent to only make $2,000 as me getting my college tuition, into the business. And shortly after that, I bought my second deal, then the third deal, then it kept going. So that first year I ended up, I bought 2 properties. By the second year, ended up being 4 or 5. Then the third year was like 5 or 6. Then now I'm up to 7. So it slow rolls pretty quickly, and you start getting a reputation in the industry as someone who closes and gets stuff done, and that's how I really started to where I am right now.
Wow. So there's a lot to digest from that, from what you just said.
Yeah.
So let me just backtrack a little bit
absolutely.
with everything that you said. For your first deal, how many people would you say that you asked, and how did you ask?
Now, keep in mind, I have an unfair advantage, right? I did financial services for a while, so I quickly turned it to, it's like me asking you to come invest, at Fidelity, bring your money over to Fidelity, we'll put you in some funds to raise your capital. So I had that knowledge, the ability, and the comfort to be able to ask people for money. So I turned around and asked, God, I didn't really ask. I asked, I'd say at least 15, 20 people. I kept asking until I got someone to say yes. So
Okay.
I kept asking. Even then, I was still asking after the guy said yeah, in case he backed out. So I kept asking, and he actually came through. So private money, hard money, really this business. I've always said that to anybody who's starting that real estate. The R in real estate stands for relationships. So I really focused on that in the beginning and really trying to build as many strong relationships as I could to be able to do the deals I'm doing right now.
So, question: when he gave you the money, was it the full amount, or was it like the 10% or 20% for hard money?
All right. So the way we structured it was that's been my model. So I use the gap lending model.
Okay.
So what I do is I'll be a relationship with hard money lenders. I have a few all throughout the market right now, and I'll turn around and build relationship with private guys that you quote someone, right? The average purchase price here in Jersey is about 150, 200 on average. Sometimes lower if you go in the lesser sections, and more obviously if you go in the nicer towns. So I focus mainly on the bread and butter areas, and I would go, then from there I'd go lock up a deal. I know I have the hard money to back me up. They'll close because right now these guys are a dime a dozen, right? So
Yes.
They'll close. So then what I did in turn was, listen, I built within my own network, find people with money. The average deal, right? If you focus in on a house that's gonna sell for 350, 400, 9 out of 10 times for you to put the deposit, right? The closing costs, the carry costs, and the first draw, that number ends up right around 50 grand. So I go to people and say $50,000. So what do you do with $50,000? You have money. You have money in your bank account right now. You have 50 grand. Then I'll say, all right, fine. What's the bank paying you? Usually like, well, that's 10%. Well, how would you feel if I take you on as a partner of mine on this deal, right? This is collateralized. There's a real estate asset. You can come see it whenever you want. I'll give you double-digit return on your money. How'd you feel about that?
That's a no-brainer.
Correct. That's like HGTV, so on and so forth. So that's how I've been able to do. Then I built a reputation within my own network that they know, and I'll do. Again, I guess part of it's probably because of my financial background. So I have that fiduciary responsibility thing just drilled into my head. So if I take your money, and honey, I'm sorry, but if I take your money, I'm gonna care more about your money than I do mine, because my reputation lies on that. The minute I screw you over, it pollutes the whole batch for me. You can go around, blast me on social media, say whatever you want, whatever, but it's gonna basically ruin my reputation, ruin my business model. Then I'll never be able to do this again. I'll have to move to a different market. So it's not worth it to me to screw my private lenders over, right? So
yeah, no, it makes sense.
Correct. So
Absolutely.
that 50 grand, I'm gonna go, even if I have to go, work it off, do something, anything I gotta do to pay you back. There's no such thing as, because I personally guarantee it.
Yeah.
So there's no such thing as, we lost money. Yes, there are investments where we can lose money, but I'm still gonna owe you because we set it up as a loan. Now, it's not ideal, and I gave up a lot in the beginning, but as I grow and I start building my reputation and my knowledge base and everything else, my performance, my historical performance, I can negotiate better terms. Now I'm switching the model where I'm giving equity, right? It's giving equity piece. Now if you take an equity piece, it's a riskier position. However, your return will be a lot higher. So that's how I've been able to set it up over the years. But I really start focused more on the smaller amounts, and you become a partner with me on this. It's not like I'm borrowing money from you or anything like that. So it's not something that requires any like registration with the SEC or anything like that, because you're a partner on the deal with me. You're not just a lender. So that changes things a bit.
And do you ever have multiple partners?
On each deal?
On a single deal? Whereas, let's say you take 20,000 and another 30,000, or you just only ever
I
had one
try
person?
to only have one person.
Yeah.
I mean, it has happened in the past, unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
but I try to only have one person, and I'll have two if they know each other. They know it's like they're going in together as partners, and
Right.
everybody. It's like the biggest thing with this business as a whole is transparency. I try not to hide nothing. If things are hard right now, I'll tell you they're hard. If you want to continue to invest in me, you're doing it because it's me, not because of the investment, right? So that's been my model, and it's paid off. Because even if it doesn't work out for me, I've done enough of these years where I've lost money. Contractor took me for money, and I ate it because I know I had to pay back private lenders.
Of course.
So that's more important than anything else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned about having a contractor. So you're not a contractor by trade or anything like that.
Not by trade. I do have my license.
Oh, you do?
Joey will tell you how easy it is to get a GC
Yeah.
license in Georgia. It's a joke, guys. It's a joke.
Super easy.
It's
Super
not,
easy in New
it's-
Jersey.
Makes you really think. Who
Yeah.
you're hiring. Do you really have that experience you're claiming you do? So I got my GC license after going through a battery of different guys. I do everything. They show up in a little pickup truck, and it's like every other day is a different guy, and they don't show up when they say they will, and they want money. They want a lot more money up front than then the work was completed. It's a dance. You're chasing them. Where are you today? You're supposed to be here. What's going on? So I mean that's course part in the business. So I got tired of giving them so much control because on the project, as you all know, when you pull a GC license, you give the contract to a whole GC. He becomes his own plumber, his own electrician, his own HVAC guy. And if you have a dispute with the GC for whatever reason, you can't come to the court. They can turn around and pull their license.
Yeah.
If they pull the license, they take everyone else with them. So I got to start all over again to find everybody. And the minute the city finds out you have an issue with the contractor, you have to resubmit all the permits again. So you're just losing more and more time. And when you're flipping a house, you're paying on average anywhere from $75 to $100, $150, $200 a day on the money. You can't afford to make those types of mistakes. So after 10 houses of getting those punches, I decided, that's it. I've had enough. I went and got my GC license. I got my whole crew, thinking, it's going to save me money. But now, almost a year into it, I'm realizing, oh crap, I made another mistake, right? So the biggest thing I can say, man, is just take your lumps, dust yourself off, get up, and keep pushing, man. That's best advice I can give to anybody. It gets better at the end.
Yeah, that's great advice. So let's move into the current and the future, right? What do you? So I understand you're working on 7 projects right now,
Correct,
which
yeah.
is it's crazy. It's a
I know,
lot.
me too. It's crazy
Yeah.
for me too.
It's a lot. So those 7 projects, are they all fix and flips?
No,
Or
so I'm slowly, my goal, as I said earlier, was to start with generating capitals from wholesaling as well as flipping to be able to start moving into buy and hold because, as I like to say sometimes as a joke, flipping's for the birds, right? Because it's hard. It's hard work. It's a job, and the whole point of me doing it into real estate is to not have another job. So, and I started doing the math. On average, for me, my goal whenever I'm doing a flip is to try to generate anywhere from 15 to 20% of the sales price as my profit.
Okay.
And it's getting harder and harder to do that. I've been averaging 10 to 12, which is not bad, but when you look at it, right, my average flip is 6 to 9 months. I know guys do it a lot quicker than I do, but it's just me right now. So 6 to 9 months been my average to be in and out of a flip, sometimes as high as 11, but it happens. And you do the math. You do all this work, you flip the house, and you end up with, you sell it for 400, but your profit was really 40. But after you look back, you had all these people you have to pay back, so your net profit's really like 15. And you look back, well, I should just wholesale this thing for 10 grand, like 9 months ago. Focus on more projects. So as I'm doing this more and more, I'm realizing, what, volume is great, and that's definitely a great way to scale the flipping business. But having the cash flow on top of it should really be the focus, right? The profit and cash flow should really be the focus. The cash flow, you can eat today, you don't have to stress, make some bad decisions, hire the cheapest guy. These are all stuff I've done just to try and get the project moving. Borrow expensive money just to be done. So these are all the things that you end up doing, but I end up doing this, making these types of decisions because of the pressure that I was under. So what I've realized is now I got to shift myself more towards, multifamily, commercial, and outside of just the residential flips, especially now with the impending, correction. So so currently I'm working on the 7. Out of the 7, I'm keeping 3 of them, selling 4. Then from there is just try to really focus my attention towards commercial asset classes like retail, office buildings, multifamily, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. You probably would not have come to that conclusion had you not do those 5 years hard time, right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I've read about it, but again,
Yeah.
one thing I think that's harping a lot of newbies, right? One is, if I can do it, you can too, right? It's not rocket science. This business is not rocket science. I've met some pretty, excuse my French, dumb people doing this stuff, and they do very well for themselves.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Exactly. And with that being said, the flip side of that is, you can do it, and if your first excuse is going to be, I don't have the money. BS, because it doesn't have to be your money. If you have a deal, that's the beautiful thing about real estate. If you have a deal, it makes sense. You did a great job negotiating. It doesn't have to be your money, right? Because there's plenty of people out there, just like the bank, willing to come in and invest with you to take the profit. Because at the end of the day, in every real estate transaction, my feeling's always been the same. Lenders make the most amount of money. They take the least money. They take the risk, yes, but they make the most amount of money in the end, right? If you factor their time plus their money, they're not working as hard as we are to get a project completed.
Right, of course.
So we're busting our ass trying to get to the finish line and finish a project to make 40, 50, 60, 100 grand, whatever it is. But that money is when you compare the delta of their time as well as the return they get for their money, it's no brainer. Being a lender is where it's at. So if you have a great opportunity, you have a great deal, you go out there, you start negotiating with different lenders and different people that that want to be your biggest supporter. You go and ask them money. What the worst you can say is no. If they say no, you move on to the next person. The more you ask, the better you'll get at asking, and eventually you're gonna get your goal. So that would be one of my biggest advice to anyone starting now. And so as far as for me, that's been what's driving me forward, and I'm slowly but surely realizing that that's one of my strengths, and I'm focusing on that now.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Like overall, what you're saying is that you want, or I mean, you just ask, because you don't get if you don't ask.
Correct.
So, like at the end of the day, like again, like you were saying, this business isn't that difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You just ask people for different things, and if they can't do it, then that's fine.
That's fine. It's not an affront on you as a human being, a person, or whatever. It's not. It doesn't mean anything. They just said you can't do it. Okay, no problem. And if they tell you why, and if that's something you can work on or you agree with, then you work on it. But there's no need to take it personal. And I think that stops a lot of people from taking the first step. And that's what it took me time to get over. Like you were saying, all those experiences made me realize what my strength was. My strength is in raising money. I'm comfortable with it. Analyzing deals. I'm comfortable with it. Project managing and construction's not it. I don't enjoy it, Versus you like it, you love.
Don't say that.
I beg to disagree, because I follow you on Facebook and I've seen your posts. You're basking in the glory of your work, right?
Yeah.
Which is great. I'm not like that. I like it. I look at the house, they did a beautiful job. I look at the pictures. I'm like, wow, look at what I did. But then I think about it, I'm like, did I really do that? So it's a nice feeling to see what you've accomplished, but. Do I get the joy with the process? No. It's difficult, yes, but at the end of the day, would you see yourself doing anything else? Do you see yourself not being involved in the construction side of a deal? Better question is, can you see yourself letting go of that control?
I'm a very much control freak.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's very difficult letting go. It's very difficult.
And that's a factor of you enjoying it as well. Because if you didn't enjoy it, you wouldn't be doing it. Trust me, it doesn't matter. Trust me, man. One great show I'd recommend, and I recommend you guys watching, because the excuses, man, they're like the biggest limitation to anybody. Watch Undercover Billionaire. It's insane. The show was, it's insane. I'm not gonna share anything, because I'm sure there's probably some copyright issues, but that show is amazing. It really. I started watching it like last night or 2 days ago, and the premise is just it. As I was sitting there watching it, I guess I can quickly say it. So. In 90 days, the guy decides he's not going to be a billionaire anymore, and with $100, he gets rid of everything, drops his phone, changes his name, gets dropped in the middle of nowhere with $100 in his pocket. That's it. And he has 90 days to create a business that's worth $1 million.
Wow.
That's all I'm gonna say. Watch it. And I literally, after watching it, I felt like a useless POS, man. I was like, why am I not? Why am I sitting there crying? I don't have any money. That this project is hard. Things are hard. This guy. Granted, I'm sure it's a little, Hollywoodish. Some of the stuff's a little excessive, but one of them is, he's like he flipped the house in like 6 weeks. I'm like, really? Really, we know how. I don't care what you did there. Unless you wholesaled it. That's a hard stretch, right?
The fastest. It's weird to this day. The fastest flip I've done was 4 months, and that was from purchase to resale.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that was a little excessive, right? But the idea was the same, right? If you take out the fantastical whatever out of it, you can create anything you want. You can do anything. If you're gonna fly to the moon, go to you want to be an astronaut, you'll go, well, logistically, it's kind of hard because I didn't work for NASA. I'm like, well, that's again a little BS because look at Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I can't go there. NASA won't accept me. No problem. I'll create my own company, make a lot of money, and I'll build myself my own spaceship, and I'm flying over there.
And now NASA actually pays him for certain things.
Thank you. So my point is very simple. It's like whatever you want to accomplish in the world, if that's truly what you want to do, just go out there and do it. So and the excuses are just that, your excuses, and if you're willing to accept them as that, then you'll surmount that challenge.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, do you have any good books or podcasts that you can recommend?
In what topic?
Well, in real estate investing, obviously, or like finance. Anything sort of related, or mindset, anything related to real estate.
So, first and foremost, right, I would probably start with mindset. Because without mindset, if you don't have the right mindset, you can't do anything. Doesn't matter what the top, doesn't matter what it is. You cannot accomplish it. Yeah. So one good book I always recommend to everybody is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Sure. Yes.
Every successful business person I know has always had that book as a book that that's driven them to be where they are. I myself, I try to read it once a year. And after that, from a real estate standpoint, I usually say it's from there just technical.
Yeah.
Depends on what you like, what you enjoy, but one good platform that I used a lot when I first started was Bigger Pockets. So I use Bigger Pockets a lot in the beginning. It's free. You can get as much information as you can. And once you start getting some money, maybe buying, some of the books by the guys. I've used a lot of it to get started. And from there, you start going down the rabbit hole. You're going to run into all types of books. You read it. If it makes no sense to you, get something else. But the key is to not quit. Just keep educating yourself. And ultimately, I guess my suggestion would be to... Actually, no, another good book would be Millionaire Real Estate Investor by Gary Keller. Sure. That's a great book. I read that book like a textbook. Brought it like I'm studying for an exam. I just broke it down, highlighter, taking notes, and going back again, trying to understand it. And but the biggest help I'd say for anybody wanting to get started is to find yourself a mentor, someone who's done this before. Maybe someone you can partner with, someone you can learn from, someone you can do odd work for, at no pay, just to learn. Mm-hmm. They'll pay your knowledge, right? So
yeah, like an internship or something like that.
Something like that. I mean, not like an official internship, but like you see an investor, you like him as a person, you respect him, you like his projects, what he's done, how he's accomplished them, and you reach out to him and say, how can I help you? Right. Be of service. I'll never forget this. When I first started, I had this deal I did with him. The deal turned out south, right? It didn't work out the way I'd hoped it'd work out. I felt at one point he took advantage of me, blah, 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 blah. And it took me a little while to, and a bit of maturity to realize he taught me probably one of the best lessons I've ever learned. One was be of service and be of value. How do you expect someone to give you something if you don't give something first? Mm-hmm. So if I want to be, like, let's say, if I want to be like, I don't know, think of, Elon Musk, that's a perfect example we were talking about before. If I want to be him, how do I get there? The best way to get there is go to the source. So for me to go to him and say, what can I do for you? How can I be of service to you? Forget about what I want. What's in it for you? What do you need? What do you need me to share with you, to do for you? How can I be of value to you so you can share and impede your knowledge on me? And if you look at it from that standpoint, and I think a lot of people get caught up on the oh, it's my time, I'm making all this money, I'm not getting anything out of it, oh, you're using me, blah, 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 blah. The biggest thing is if you're not getting something out of it yourself, then find someone else. But the key is to always look at the bigger picture, right? So by working with that person, I learned one thing for sure was if it's not on paper, it doesn't mean anything. If it's not written down on paper, it does not mean anything, you know?
You know, it's funny how you mentioned about, like you felt like you wasted your time or anything like that. Gary Vee actually made a great point a while back about that, like, what, like going to the source and asking them what you could do to provide value. He actually thinks that in a couple years, depending on the person, that you might actually have to pay them for their time and for you to learn from them.
That's completely fine too. Whether you pay for it or you get it for free, you've got to give them value. The value could be the dollar that you pay them for their time. The other value could be you can be of service to them. Either way, whether you put a dollar sign in front of it or your time, in this business, in every business, these are one or two things. I do this to people all the time. Sometimes I'll get investors come to me and say, oh, I'll do a deal with you, I'll give you all the money, but I want, 60-40, meaning 60 their way, 40 my way. But I'll say, listen, so let me do something. You want me to find a deal, manage the project, do all the work, sell the house, you'll give me the money, but you'll also take, 70% of the deal, 60, 70% of the deal. Now, in certain situations, that might be okay, depending on your knowledge level, right? But the other one, I looked at them because I'm like, I have to do all the work. I have to find the opportunity. And I'm like, at the way you are, hard money's cheaper. That makes no sense. But then I took a step back and I actually started explaining to him. I was like, listen, in anything, there's always two things, right? It's either you're spending your time or you're spending your money, or you're doing both. These two factors are always in everything. So if you're looking at your time as, frankly, it's the most valuable asset you have because it never comes back.
Of course.
So I've spent a lot of money on education, right? Seminars, like 10, 15, 20 grand on educating myself. Because I've always felt I can sit there, talk to the smartest guy in the room. I can be that person on my own time. Figure out the way, reinvent the wheel, create my own process to be that person. Now, if I also understand my time is my most valuable asset. I'm 35 years old right now. I don't know how much time I have left, right?
Yeah.
And most people would think, you can live forever. I understand that, but I have goals I want to accomplish, and the quickest way for me to accomplish them is to, partner with someone that can teach me what I want to know and try to get me there as quickly as possible. So now if it costs me money to get there, that's great. I'll happily do it. As long as I can see myself getting some value. Now, if I get at least one piece of value out of it, that's all I need to justify the cost. So that's why I say, finding a mentor, whether you pay for them, whether you be of service to them, that is the quickest way for you to get to where you want to go.
Of course.
Absolutely. I love that advice, with the time and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Ben, do you have anything else you want to share with the audience?
Well,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, first, let the audience know where they can find you on social media. And,
Yes.
Your email and phone number if you have.
Or Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, sure. You can definitely find me better. On online. My website is njlocalhomebuyers.com. You can look at me there. My Instagram's the same handle. As far as access to me, you can check out the site. My email's right there. Feel free to reach out. Pretty easy, accessible, easy going.
Yeah.
I'm happy to talk to people. Take them out to lunch or whatever. We chat, but I'm fairly accessible.
Awesome.
Awesome. Ben, do you have anything else you might want to give to the audience?
Yeah, no.
Final notes.
The biggest thing is, if that's really what you want to do, really, 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 really sit down and think through. If you're just doing it chasing money, I can promise you'll be very unhappy. This business is more than just about money, right? It's, the way I look at it, it's financial freedom. It's looking a way to change your life, which means you have the control to do that. And real estate as an asset class, I've always felt was the most accessible. I didn't care about the way you look, how much money you got in your bank account, your gender. It doesn't care about any of that stuff. All he cares about, can you find a great deal and can you make money from it? And so as far as an asset class, it's the most accessible. Now, real estate doesn't have to be it. You can go out and start your own business, start a store, a restaurant, whatever your passion is, follow it, because that's where freedom lies. And don't quit. The harder it gets, the more you should, hold on tight. Push through. I mean, as long as you keep trying new things and figure out what works for you best. And yeah, that's really it. Just the biggest advice: just don't quit.
Thank you, Ben.
Absolute pleasure, man.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Ben.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Take care, everyone.
Hey guys, as you know, my name is Joey Chan. And
I'm
this
Jonathan
is
Boyle.
Jonathan Boyle. Welcome to another episode of Real Estate. Shit.